Welcome to iLive, mastering the essentials of life, money, and relationships. I live on purpose. That's the whole reason for us being here today. So I'm really excited that you're here with me. And again, my name is Michael Charles from Leading with Intent, where I share insights and strategies, secrets to intentional living. I live, right? That's where that comes from. And creating lasting results, both in your personal and professional life. My goal is to elevate your level of awareness and help you master the essentials of life. Of course, money and relationships. So you can operate at a higher level of performance in both your personal and professional life. So hang with me and let's take this journey together with me here as your guide on this channel. And if you are new to this channel, do not forget to hit the subscription button and subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified once I go live and upload a new video. I also have a welcome gift for you. If you're here, remember after the show to go and visit my website, leadingwithintent.com, to get a free gift that will help you get started in your journey of discovery, growth, and becoming. And so remember, visit my website at leadingwithintent.com for you to visit to get that free gift. All right. And so today I have a very, very special guest for you. A very, very special guest for you. Her name is Jessica. Jessica is has a private coaching practice where she works with people to help them remember that they were born to shine. So essentially, she helps people shine. So Jessica is the president of the John Maxwell team, Espanol, really being responsible for building the John Maxwell team for Spanish-speaking individuals across the world. And I mean, across the world. So she's doing a great job at it. I met Jessica in 2011, believe it or not, when we were the first to start we're at the very first John Maxwell training. So I'll talk to her about that a little bit and ask her maybe to reminisce on that. But it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you my friend, an industrial engineer by profession, a businesswoman, married with two handsome boys. Here, I'd like to introduce you to Jessica Calderon de Aguilar. I don't know if I say it correctly, Jessica, but please help me if I butchered your name. Welcome.
Hello, how are you? This is Jessica Calderon de Aguilar. Aguilar is my husband's last name.
Yes.
Yeah. In
I remember
Honduras.
meeting him too.
Yeah,
Very
my boys
friendly guy.
Yeah, we're really young. My boys. Was it back in 2012? I guess.
I believe so. It was a number of years ago that I remember.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So
Thank
how
you
are
for
you,
inviting
Jessica?
me. Really good to be here.
Well, it's good to have you here because, frankly, I've been looking forward to this and getting you and on the show and trying to help some people. How do I say this? Develop and renew their vision in 2021. I mean, 2020 has been a crazy year for, I don't want to say many people, but for really everybody. I don't know. I mean, what you think? You're in Honduras. I don't know if that's different there.
No, it's so weird. I live in Honduras. Honduras is in the middle of America, and it's a country with a lot of issues politically and economically and every aspect. And for many years, we've been enduring several crises, and it was so hard because, for example, sometimes we had like a lockdown or something like that because of some political reasons. And I saw the world, and I felt like we were having all these issues. But this year, we were collectively, the whole world, having the same issue. So it was like,
Yeah.
okay, now we're in the same level.
I agree. Well, so I mean, how are the kids? How's the husband? I mean, it's been so long.
Well, I guess I believe that you met them back in 2012, and they were really, really young. My oldest is 18. He's in
Oh,
his last
wow.
year in high school, and
Mm-hmm.
we are applying to college.
Wow.
He really really wants to go to the United States to study. So every day we are applying to no colleges and doing all that stuff. And he's really responsible, and a nice boy, a nice kid. And I've been kind of worried and sad because it was his last year, and
Uh-huh.
he couldn't they couldn't have the regular, last year and all that stuff, senior year.
Yeah.
And then I have my youngest is 14. He's in eighth grade,
Mm-hmm.
and he's really creative. So they're so different, and they both are at home because in Honduras, they didn't allow us to send them to school, back
Oh
to
wow.
school. So
Mm-hmm.
we my husband too. My husband works at the bank, and he couldn't get back to his work yet. So they are at home. So I have everybody here working with me,
Well,
and
look,
it's
listen. I'm sure they keep you busy.
yeah, it do because I used to have my business from home.
Mm-hmm.
So when this thing happened back in March, everybody was like, "Okay, you have to go and work from home." I was actually working from home, and you will say, "Okay, nothing changed for Jessica." Yes, it did, because I didn't have my husband and my kids here. So
Uh-huh.
now
Uh-huh.
I'm in bed in my
You,
in my, in my workplace. you
you
know,
have everybody there.
I have everybody, but it's good. It's good now. I'm used to having them, and I feel like I'm gonna be so alone when they go back.
I know. Well, mostly, right? You said your son is applying to college, so she'll be going to college soon. So,
He's supposed to be going in August, and
yeah.
he's 18, and he's like, "Okay, mom, you have to enjoy my last month here." And I'm like, "Okay, no, I don't want to think about that."
Wow, interesting. All right. Well, I mean, I would love to chat some more, but I'm sure there are people that are logging in and they're here to hear from you and really talk about, the topic for the day. And that's really how to renew your vision. And really, I mean, as I said, 2020 has been a crazy year for everybody, really. And so
Yeah,
now, the 2021 is coming. We don't know really what's in store, but we kind of know that COVID is really not going to go away. Just,
yeah.
in the first half of 2021, at least we know that for sure with the way it's going. So, why is it so important that, you know, for anyone to have a vision right now at this point? Why is it important?
And it's kind of weird because how can you have a vision if you don't know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
you know it's really weird. But the thing is, if you don't have vision, you won't move forward. And we are entering a new world. We are in a new world. Things are not going to come back to what we were used to.
Mm-hmm.
So um, we have to understand that we need to keep on moving forward. And we might many people may need to rebuild their lives completely, rebuild their businesses, their professions, their even their family life because of the
Yeah.
situation. And there's a saying that goes, without vision people perish.
Mm.
And what does that mean? That when we have an image of where we are going, we will move toward that image. And when I say an image, I mean like a mental image, like a picture in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe at this point, we can't be that certain of the details, but we can, for example, we can say, we can know that I want to have a better family life.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to have a better relationship with my husband. I would
Yeah.
like to manage my finances in a better way. I would like to uh, grow my business. I would really like to do that. And when you have that vision, you will begin moving towards that vision. But
Yeah.
when you don't have any vision, you will get stuck, and it's easier for you to get lost in all this craziness.
Yeah, that is so true because I think you said it right, right? I mean, I think the good book, right? The Bible says, "Without my
Yeah.
vision, my people perish," and um, we need to know where we're going in order for us to, or for to be more intentional, or to for us to be intentional in what we're trying to do. If we don't know where we're going, if we don't know what we're striving for, then anything is fair game.
Yes, and the thing is, we're going through a crisis that nobody anticipated,
Mm-hmm.
and so you may be asking, well, why is Jessica saying this? How can Jessica know she's going through the same crisis? And as we were saying, Michael, we met back in 2011, and you might not know, but I was going through a major crisis in my life at that point. I had a nice career. I used to work for a university at that back in like 2008 and 9, and then I resigned from my not only my position but my career because I was in the academia, and in the academia you have to grow in your career. So I had a nice position, and I decided that I wasn't going to keep on pursuing that because I really wanted to build a business.
Mm-hmm.
So I resigned from my position. I resigned from my career. I built up a
Wow.
business, and
Mm-hmm.
1 year later, I was broke, and I lost my savings from 10 years, 10 years of savings. I lost them all.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a mess. So this was back in 2009, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so sad. It was a major crisis. I had my two boys. They were almost babies. They were really young, and I was married with my husband. We had the house. We had so many responsibilities, and I didn't have a job, and I didn't have money.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, I I ask myself, what should you do? You can go back to your job, but in my mind, and I had this impression, Jessica, you failed your business because you didn't know anything about a business, and because you weren't doing what you wanted to do, because you're good at helping people grow, you're good at speaking. You
Mm-hmm.
have to build your business again.
Wow.
And that was my vision again. And this is when I got into the John Maxwell team because I wanted to become a speaker, a trainer, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any more money
And
because I
it wasn't cheap joining the team, was it?
no, it wasn't. It wasn't actually. I was in that first call. I don't know if you remember, but
I
in
was on
March.
the first call of that. Yeah,
Oh well, we
the
were
very
not the
first
same
call
call.
in March. Yes.
Yes, and it's so well. It's interesting now, but at the end of the call, I told my husband, I need to be here. This is the place for me. I
Mm-hmm.
only need $5,000. Back at that time,
I'm
it
sure it
was
was a
like,
lot.
yeah. So I had told my husband, I need this money, and he was like, okay, well, I'm not going to invest in you anymore because I have spent all my savings from 10 years. But I had some money saved in one account.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked my husband if I could join the team because I respect him really much, and I didn't want to do something that he was not okay with.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the team the next day, the very next day. I
Wow.
paid and I was there. And I was moving towards a vision. What was my vision? I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to be a trainer. I wanted to have my own business. And Michael, I wasn't sure of how I was going to build it. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like the big rocks of my vision, and it moved me to where I am today. So this is what I'm trying to explain. That even though right now you might not have the whole picture, but if you know in your heart that you have to move toward this place, you have to begin building, and you will naturally move to that place. This is why it's so important to have a vision.
Yeah, I mean, you said two things I'd like to maybe explore a little bit more. You talk about the big rocks. If you may not have the complete picture, but if you have the big rocks of the picture, could you share some more about that? The big rock of the picture. What do you really mean by that?
For example, I remember back then I knew what kind of marriage I wanted to have. That was
Mm-hmm.
like a big rock. I knew that I wanted to be married with my husband forever. We this year we celebrated our 20th anniversary, 20 years.
Wow.
20
20
years,
years.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations. You
Yeah.
know, just so you know, last week we are talking about marriage.
Uh-huh.
And,
Oh,
yeah, we are talking about couples
you,
marriage. And we had a good time
yeah.
too.
Yeah, you should have invited me to that one.
Well, the next one you definitely
Yeah.
invited.
Yeah, so I knew that my vision for my marriage was that I wanted to have a healthy marriage. I
Hmm.
knew, for example, that I wanted to be a mother who was present in the life of my child.
Mm,
So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have my own business, because I wanted
yeah.
to be with them, have the liberty, the time. I knew that I wanted to, for example, to be healthy. So I began doing exercise. So I didn't have the details, but I have the big rocks, like the big pieces of your life that you should be working on. And I began working on those places.
Yeah, so essentially, you didn't know the how, the everyday
Mhm.
details, but you had a vision of where you wanted to go. And one of the things somebody, and I think John says this all the time, and I know one of our mentors, Paul Martinelli, says this all the time. How
Mhm.
is this serving you right now? All right, when it comes to your vision and the goals that whatever you're trying to achieve in your life, how is this action? How is this thought? How is this whatever it is you're doing? Helping you
Yes.
move closer to that vision. And I think that's another thing that will be helpful in that sort of
Well, yeah,
state.
that's great, because if you don't know where you're going, you will go to any place and you will make the wrong decisions because you're not sure. For example, I remember while I was building my business, I had, for example, I remember that I called this company, this organization,
Hmm.
and I was building my business. So I was offering my services as a trainer and as a coach. And they called me back and they offered me a job. And I was
Wow.
like, okay,
Okay.
I don't need a job. But the thing is, I needed the money. I needed the
Hmm.
money. But I knew that in my vision, if I took that job, I was going to be running away from my vision.
Mm.
So
You
I
have
told
to
them,
be willing to give up, right? In order to go
yes,
up.
yes, but you won't be able to give up if you don't know what you want to, what you want to
Exactly.
do. You know, if you don't have a vision. So I remember that I told them, okay, that's a good job, but I'm not looking for a job. I'm
Yeah.
a business
Right.
person, and that's so funny because I told them I'm a businesswoman, and I didn't have a business.
You were speaking it into existence. You were
Yeah,
speaking it
yeah,
into
yeah.
existence.
I could see it in my mind, and that's the thing with the vision. You had to see it before you have it in the real world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've gone from being, somebody who joined the Joe Maxwell team to somebody who's now running a major portion of the Joe Maxwell team. I mean, talking about
It,
vision, being a coach and a businesswoman that adding value to people. I mean, wow.
and that's actually another thing because when we I guess were you at the first IMC in August
Yeah, oh, you and I
2011?
were at the very first
Yeah,
IMC, and then
that's
after
where
that we
we
kept
met.
going back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
by the way,
so
for those people watching who do not know what IMC mean, it means International Maxwell Certification. That's
certification.
where we
Yes.
go and get certified to become coaches, trainers, to teach and train with licenses to teach John Maxwell materials. Go ahead,
And
Jessica.
And I will say this. Sometimes you get like a vision or like a dream, and it seems so
Mm-hmm.
impossible that it's better that you don't share it. Because
Mm,
sometimes when you share some things, like those crazy things, people will bring you down. And
yeah.
vision and ideas are like babies. You have to take really, really good care of them at
Mm-hmm.
the beginning. So I remember that when I went to the first IMC and when I joined the team, I said, I really want to be a mentor. I want to be a
Mm,
mentor. And I had that in my mind, and I got like, I will do this. I will do this. And again, I didn't know how was I going to do that. As you know, they weren't hiring any mentors. They weren't. They didn't have like an opening for a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't need any mentors who speak in Spanish because
Yeah.
everything was in English. We didn't have that German team
Anything.
español.
Exactly.
But yeah, but because I had this dream and I decided, and that's the next big thing, I decided that I was going to do it. And I didn't
Mm.
share that with anybody up until now, 10 years
Really.
later, or
Mm.
maybe not 10, but some years when we built the Jamaxo Team Espanol and I became a mentor. But the thing is, back in 2011, I decided that I was going to be a mentor.
Wow.
And this is what happened. I didn't have any chance. I didn't have, you know the team how it works.
Yeah.
But I began doing whatever I needed to do, and whatever moved me closer to my vision.
Wow.
So I kept on going back. I kept on doing whatever, and this is how we met. And I
Exactly.
remember, yeah, I remember as it was yesterday that we were sitting in this hall and John Maxwell was
You
filming.
remember that too?
Yeah, I do. I do because we were like hours
I
sitting
know. We
there
were
and
just sitting
talking.
there waiting for our turn. I think was it were we gonna I think we were going to record a video with John or pictures with John, I don't.
Yeah, it was the minute with Maxwell.
Yeah, we were going
And
to record a video with him. Yeah.
a video small, 1 minute video with Maxwell.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
John Maxwell was like crazy because there were like 100 people and we
I
all
know.
were recording 1 minute. And I was there, and whatever they told me to do, I did.
Yeah.
Whatever I could, and I began translating. Back then, they
Yeah.
didn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I began doing whatever, and then in 2015, 16, Paul Martinelli asked a friend of mine, not me, a friend of mine, if he could begin the German team in Spanish, if he could
Mm-hmm.
organize it. And I told my friend, I'm going to help you, and I began helping him as a volunteer. And we built it together with a group of people. And then I became the coaching mentor. And he
Mm-hmm.
was the president. And but my dream was not to be the president. My dream was to
Mm-hmm.
be a mentor. So
Yeah, yeah.
I got to do my dream in 2017. And then my friend, he couldn't keep on being the president, and he had to resign, and I became the president last year. So here I am.
Wow. I mean, talk
Yeah.
talk about going from somebody who had a dream, had a vision, and you protected that vision. And one of my friends here commented, "Wow, that was powerful, right? To protect your vision, which is key because a lot of times we have our vision, we don't protect it, and we have what we call the firefighters, the bulldozers that come over and they just run over your vision and then they just kill it, right before
Yeah.
it's even you even give birth to it. So
Yeah.
it is so important. Now, what is really the difference between a dream, a vision, goals? I mean, we hear all of these terms. I mean, what's the difference?
And at first, I thought that they were just terms, the same thing, but it's
Hmm.
not.
Okay, okay,
I
let's share
feel
that
like,
with the
yeah,
viewers.
the dream and vision, they use it like interchange. I don't know, they can use the same word, but I feel like a dream is a larger thing, a
Okay.
larger. And then a vision is something that you see in your life. Like for example, my I had this dream. It seemed impossible for me to
Hmm.
become the mentor, but that was like a kind of a dream. So a vision is more clear, I guess. But you can
Hmm.
use the same terms. Vision and dream are almost the same, but the goal is completely different. The
Hmm.
goal it Goals are the small steps that will move you uh, towards your vision. The small things that you need to do.
Okay.
For example, I remember, when you met me, I was so thin. I gained like 30, 20 pounds since 2011. But the
Okay.
thing is, I back then I was really thin, but I wasn't healthy because I didn't
Mm.
do any exercise. I took good care of what I was eating, but I was so not organized. And I decided that I wanted to be healthy, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to have a healthy lifestyle.
Okay.
So I began changing, and so the vision is, okay, this is where I need to be, or your dream, or whatever. But the vision is, this is where I need to be. So what steps do I need to take? So I began working on my exercises, routines,
Mm-hmm.
then on my sleeping habits, and then I began working. So those are small goals that you need to
Mm-hmm.
accomplish in order to get to your vision. And for example, in my business, as I mentioned, back in 2011, I didn't have a business at all. I thought that I had one, but I didn't. I didn't have clients. I
Well,
didn't have.
at least it's still good to think that you had one, because that was the beginning of everything, right? That was when you are giving birth to what you have now.
Yes, and it's so funny because when you get that into your mind, you really believe it. You're gonna move. You're gonna go and find it. And I have a friend, a really good friend of mine, and I remember it was like 2010, 11. And he asked me, we were talking, and he said, Jessica, you say that you are a business person. Yes, I told him, and I was so sure. Yes. And he asked me, well, what do you sell? What is your okay. And I thought, okay, I need something to sell. I mean, I don't have anything because at that time I didn't have any conferences, any products. But in my mind, I was a business
Mm-hmm.
person. I wasn't going to get a job. Well,
Yeah.
but the thing is, at that time, I didn't have the money, as I mentioned. I didn't have connections. I didn't have experience. So I began pursuing small goals. For
Mm.
example, okay, I need to uh, build my first, a mastermind, my first group, the people
Mm-hmm.
who I will work with. Then they will introduce me to these companies, and then I will rebuild my finances in order to be healthy in that side. Yeah, I even, well, the good thing is, even when I spent all my savings, I didn't have any debt. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like owning people money, so I didn't have any debt, but I didn't have money.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember one of my goals, because at that time I used to pay everything with my credit card. And
Mm-hmm.
then at the end of the month, I was like, I have to pay the credit card. So one of my goals was to get used to managing a budget,
Mm-hmm.
um, using a debit card instead of credit card, and that way I managed to rebuild my finances. So those were like small steps that I needed to take.
Wow.
uh, Also in my family, I remember, because I'm kind of a workaholic and sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and I really, really wanted to be with my kids. And I knew that the person who was more against that was me, because I could work and work the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
So I I remember that I used I decided that I was going to be with them at 4 p.m. From 4 p.m. on,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to work. And it was so hard for me. It was so hard. And I worked on that goal for, I guess, almost a year, because I wanted to keep on working. So I didn't have the habit
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do that. So that was another goal. Another goal of mine was to read the Bible. I didn't read the Bible back then. It took me 3 years to get used to reading the Bible every day.
Wow. Wow.
So you have the big rocks,
Mm-hmm.
and when you have this big rock, you know where you're going, but then you have to take the small steps, and those are the goals.
Yeah, and you said a few things that's very important. I want to make sure that folks don't miss it. And if you're just joining us, feel free, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. Give us a comment. Put say something in the chat box. Let us know you're watching. But you said a couple of things, Jessica, that I think is worth highlighting for the viewers. Now, the first thing you said, you had to find a routine, and you said that a little bit earlier, because you had the big wax, but you had to find the routines that will help you get to these big wax. And then just now, also, we were talking about habits, routine and habits.
Mhm.
So those are very important aspect of eh, achieving anything, right? You have a goal,
Yeah.
you have a vision. If you don't create systems, habits, and routines that help you get there, you're essentially not gonna get there. But let me
Yes.
ask you, I mean, I want to make sure that we share this with our viewers here today. Uh, what do we need right now to get ready for 2021? And mind you, 2021 is just a couple of days away. But
Yeah.
what do we need right now to set ourselves up for success in 2021 from a vision perspective?
Well, at first, I would like to mention something about routines and habits. The
Sure.
thing with habits is that you can you can, whatever you want to accomplish, if you get the right habits, it will be automatic. You will have to do it because it's a habit, and that's
Hmm.
why they're so important. As I was mentioning, for example, back then in 2011, I didn't do any exercise at all. Today, this morning, I was up and doing my daily exercise. I walk, but I like a strong walk every
Hmm.
day at 6 a.m. in the morning. And my husband was sleeping because he's on vacation and he didn't want to go. It
Hmm.
was cold, and I was there like doing my exercises, and I need to do them. And I was
Hmm.
thinking, should I go or not? And tomorrow I will be doing my exercises. And the next day, even if it's January 1st, I will be doing my exercise because that's my habit right now. I read the Bible not because well, I love reading the Bible right now, but it's a habit. If I don't do it, I feel bad.
Hmm. Hmm.
So and as I was mentioning, I used to pay with my credit card. I don't pay with my credit card anymore.
Hmm.
I made it a habit to pay with my debit card, and I know how much money do I have and how much money can I spend. I didn't have that habit back then, so that you don't have to think about it anymore if it's a habit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I still have the habit of eating chocolate and things like
Ah,
that. I need to
you're
work on
not the
that.
only one. I got something
Yeah,
right here.
yeah, I need to work on those. But this year I no, it was last year. I got a new habit. I stopped drinking any sugar thing. I only drink water.
Hmm.
That's all. And that's my habit.
That's
And
good.
whenever I go to a restaurant or whatever, I will ask for water. And that's my
Hmm.
habit. And I
Yeah.
don't miss drinking anything else.
That's
So
great.
that's why those are important. And so what do you need to do to get ready for 2021? And this is kind of an emergency because you only have tomorrow to get prepared. No. No, what you need to do is you have to stop whatever you're doing, take some time to reflect. And whom, everybody who knows me will know that I will say this: take a pen and a paper
Hmm.
and write down, what do I really want for my life?
Hmm.
And I'm not asking you to make a plan. I'm asking you to define the big rocks, as we were saying.
Yeah.
And we can divide our lives in several areas. For example, ask yourself, what do I want in my marriage? What do I want in my finances? What do I want in my career? What do I
Hmm.
want with my kids, with my mm, my health, my spiritual life?
Yeah.
And just describe that. Describe that. And then take your time as long as you need, and then define, what am I going to do this year. It could take many years. For example, as I was saying, I wanted to grow in my spiritual life, and it took me 3 years to
Hmm.
get used to reading the Bible. So but I knew where I was going. So if you take that time, you will define where you're going, and you will begin moving to that direction.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
And we shouldn't be afraid of what's coming in 2021. We don't know when the COVID's going to end, but we know for sure that it is going to end at some point. But your life is your life, so you can keep on building your life. For example, this year was a really hard year for everybody, and I had to redefine my whole business, the business that I was working for 10 years, and I had to redefine it completely. And I turned it to be an online business completely.
Okay.
I had to redefine everything that I was doing, and it's okay. I like what I did. So even when things got bad, I lost many clients. I had some contracts in March, and then one week later, all my clients were closed
Yeah.
because they were like banks and all that stuff, and they were not going to train anybody for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's true. A
mhm,
lot of people that had mom and pop businesses because of COVID, a lot of them have gone out of business, and many of them don't know how to take that store or in-person business and turn it into an online business, which is where you, me, and a lot of the people that have been doing this for a while, we sort of learn to do by default, but some people just don't know how to do this, and thank goodness we have mentors that helps us through that process.
yes, yes, but the thing is, we all. I know that if you take the time, this is why it's so important to reflect and to have like a pen and a pencil. Sorry, a pen and a paper, not a
Hmm.
computer, not a computer. Uh,
By the way,
and
I'm
why?
guilty. I
Yeah,
love using computers.
no, not a computer. Why not? No, because I really, and this is, I know that you're a coach. Also a coach, but I will tell you, you think better with a pen and a paper.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's no contesting that.
Yeah. So if you take that time to reflect, I'm sure because even though I was doing many things online, my business was not designed to be online. So I
Yeah,
had to change many things. But I knew many things, and I needed to change those things and adapt them.
yeah.
So I took time in March and in April to change, and this is what we should be doing right now.
Wow. Now we have a quick question in the comment box or in the chat box, and folks, feel free to do that. You could put your comments or questions in the chat box. I think we can take them as we go through. This person says, "Is it when you use a pen and paper? Is that for retention that you use the pen and paper more, or is it for some other reason?" Thanks,
The
Marlon,
reason
for
is
the
this.
question. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's a great question. Great question, and it's magic. No, no. The thing is, um, when we think, we have to be kind of have the freedom to think. Our mind thinks in pictures, and the computer is too structured. So when you begin typing, then you have to follow like the structure of whatever you're typing on, and then you have to go back and it will mark your mistakes. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're writing, you're just writing and taking out of your mind whatever you're thinking. And you can write words, or you can draw pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Actually it's better if you draw a picture instead of writing, or like a map or something like that, a mind map. So when you're writing in a paper, you allow your mind to be free, to really express the ideas that you have in your mind. And the thing is this: when many people, when you ask them, "What's your vision?" Do you have it written down? And they will say, oh, no, I have it in my mind. It's not the same when you see what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, if you write it down and when you actually see it, it's actually becoming real.
Yeah.
You can touch it, you can touch your paper, you can touch whatever you're doing. uh, but in the computer, the structure of the computer will not allow your mind to work with that freedom that you need. And I
Yeah.
know, and everybody, and some people will argue that they're millennials and things like that, but I know for sure. And what something that can help you if you are too technological is that you can use like a smartphone but with a pen, and then you can write with your hand, and
Yeah.
instead of using a like an actual like a WordPress, like Word or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's a reason actually, is
Yeah. And
to
also, writing things down helps you see it more clearly, I think, right?
yes,
As you
yes, yes.
write things down, you start not only seeing it more clearly, but then you start thinking through it in a way that you never actually did before.
And you know what? You killed your monsters because the monsters lives in your head. But when you write
Yeah.
it down and you see them, and it's not that that bad.
Yeah,
I can actually
absolutely.
work with this. For example, I work. I met this guy. He was my client some years ago, and
Hmm.
he owed a lot of money. A lot of money. It was that much that he didn't even want to know how much he owed to
Hmm.
banks
Hmm.
and all that stuff. But while we were working together, one day he decided to write it down. And so he
Hmm.
wrote it. And he decided that he was going to pay that money. And he knew the amount and he made a plan. He actually made a plan. And his plan was to pay that money in 3 years. By a year and a half, he was 90% paid, everything that he owed. He was going to pay in 3 years. And at first, when he had it in his mind, it was impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when he saw it written down and he saw it that it was so clear for him and he had a plan.
Yeah.
So I will encourage everybody here to get it out of your head
Yeah. No,
and write it
absolutely.
down.
And yes, I think somebody said writing it in the comments back. Ronald says writing it with a pen feels like a seal. Like you put, you see. I guess you're
Yeah,
sealing the deal.
it's yours. It's yours. Yeah, it's personal. It's personal. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. All right, so now how can I prepare myself mentally? Right, I have this vision, but how can I prepare myself mentally to reach that vision? Right, because I can have this vision, but if and a lot of people fail because mentally they have, and I remember this very well. Paul was teaching us this lesson of that little voice, that tiny little voice that we have inside of us that's sabotaging us and our mindset and every plans that we have. So, how do we prepare ourselves mentally to actually start taking action and reach that vision?
Well, this is the thing. Um, we're talking about vision. We're talking. We're so inspired, and so but somebody's gonna go and write his vision, and he
Mm-hmm.
will be so excited, and then you go to the real world, and that's what
Mm.
happens. The real world, and you have to go back to work, and you don't have the money. You have all these issues. You have all these problems. So you have to be, as you said, mentally prepared. You have to,
Mm.
otherwise you won't be able to make it. So, in my case, for example, I remember back then in 2011, as I was saying, I didn't have any clients. Nobody knew me here in Honduras. Actually, I still struggle with my English, but back then I didn't speak English that much. But I was there. I was talking to John Maxwell, and but the thing is, because I was so committed and so in love, and I would like to mark that down, get in love with what you want, that I was willing to do whatever it takes. And I discovered during my journey that you can do some things, and we were talking about habits.
Mm-hmm.
So you can introduce some habits in your life that will keep you aligned to where you need to go. For example, one of the habits that helped me a lot was gratitude, uh, being grateful for what I have and what I was doing. So
Mm-hmm.
I got into the habit of being of expressing my gratitude every day in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So that way it aligned me to, okay, Jessica, in the past you have had some struggles and you overcome them, and here you are, and you can keep on moving. So that helped me a lot. Another
Mm.
habit that helped me a lot was journaling. And again, writing my thoughts down every day, every day. And I used to write, for example, back then, I used to write my vision many
Mm.
times. I want to be a speaker. I want to be a trainer. And at some point, I stopped saying I want to be a trainer, and I start saying I am a trainer. I am a
Yeah.
speaker, and things like that. So journaling, having the habit of gratitude, then you have to be really, really aware of who you are in contact with, because there's so much negativity surrounding us that
Mm.
it will bring you down. So, for example, my friends are people like Michael. I know that if I have a problem and I call Michael, he will encourage me. He will help me go up. I'm also really really conscious about what I'm reading,
Mm.
what I'm listening to,
Mm.
because I want to feed my mind with the things that will help me become stronger in my thoughts. You know?
So essentially, what are you feeding your
Yeah.
mind? What? How are you tilling or preparing the ground for what's gonna grow? Essentially.
Yes, yes. And as I was saying at the beginning, I live in Honduras,
Mm.
and is we have many issues here. And I know that we have issues in the whole world, but we had these issues for a long time. So, and in my country, we have a political division. And I know that you're experiencing some of these things in the United States, but we have been in this situation for many years now. And so whenever you open your Facebook or your or whatever social media you're using, people were
Mm-hmm.
expressing their anger and all that stuff. And it was really hard because whenever you get into these people and you begin, even if you're not sharing their thoughts, you feel the anger.
Yeah.
You get sad, you get angry, you get. So I had to cut many of these people out of my life
Oh yeah.
because I knew where I was going, and I knew that I wouldn't be reaching that place if I kept on with these people and this way of thinking. And it was hard. It was hard.
Yeah.
I didn't, uh, I didn't get like angry with them or fight with them. I just silenced them, and they don't know. They don't even know.
You just silence them. I like
Yeah,
that because
yeah,
you silence the voice of negativity, right? The voice of
yes,
doubt, the voice
yes,
of pain, and the voice of not just pain, but the voice that's right there, letting you know that the world is no place for you to give birth to anything good,
yes,
right?
yes, and
Silencing those voices is important. Yeah.
yeah, I did that, and it was not easy. Even I had to change the church that I was going to, the
Mm-hmm.
church, the church, and the church was not helping me, and I had to leave the church. Yeah, because unfortunately, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So I went to another church, and the other thing that I did was that I invested a lot in my spiritual life,
Yeah.
and this is something that uh, uh, people doesn't understand, because we have like a physical side of our lives,
Mm-hmm.
we have a emotional side of your lives, a mental side of your life, but we also have a spiritual side,
Yeah.
and you have to feed that side also. And when
Absolutely.
I began really, really working on that, it helped me a lot because that's where my foundation is.
You know, a
Hmm.
lot of the times we chase natural stuff, physical things that we can for sure appreciate with our eyes, but
Hmm.
we do not take care of the mind and the spiritual aspect of our being, which will allow us to be more of a well-rounded person. And frankly, having this type of happiness that come from within, right? You're not chasing after things, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you do, whatever you're building it from a place of peace, from a place of abundance, as opposed to a place of lack, a place of fear. It makes such a big difference.
Yes, it does. It does. And as I mentioned, I come from Honduras, and in Honduras we have a lot of, poverty and things like that. And this pandemic made us reflect on so many things. And for example, I don't know if you are aware, but back in March we were going to go to the IMC, to the John
Yeah,
Maxwell
yeah, it
celebration.
had to be canceled.
Yeah, it had to be canceled, and I had my new dress and my new shoes, and everything is in my closet with the tag, and I haven't used. And I thought, I don't need a new dress. I don't need shoes. I can use my regular shoes. I decided this year, I decided that I wasn't going to be buying all this stuff anymore. I've been, and you know what? I have my nice suit, my nice shirt, and guess what? This is the same that I use in almost every every interview that I do, because it has to be like a solid color. It has to be
Hmm.
like a good, to get to be looking good at the camera. And
Exactly.
almost all my wardrobe doesn't work in the camera. So
Mm.
I've been using the same stuff for since March, you know.
Oh.
And I was like, Jessica, you don't need that many things that you have. So, as you were saying, Michael, unfortunately, we are so into the external things when the internal things, the emotional side, the spiritual side is what is your foundation.
Yeah, yeah, and
Hmm.
without that, if everything that comes, we sway and we fall and we fail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
wow. And we have a lot of comments coming through. One of them actually, I don't know the name, but this person says, let me see, can I put it on the screen maybe? No.
Okay.
Yeah. Your mind moves faster than you can write. Writing forces you to slow down and reflect. Journaling is more than an exercise or a pastime, but it is also a great tool for reflection, which you've been talking about, right?
Yeah, I used to, when I was children, little small girl. Well, I get confused with my English. Sorry about that. But I remember that everybody was saying like you have to have a like your diary and
A
write
diary.
down. Yeah, but it was like, oh my, I saw this boy and he's so handsome and he's so
Yeah,
that, and that
that
was
tends
my
to be rather
idea.
right.
Yeah, yeah, but
That's most people's idea of a journal. Also, when you say
yeah.
journal, they think about that kind of stuff as opposed to. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and that was my idea. So when I first received this idea of journaling, I wasn't that open about that idea. I didn't want to be writing of all these fantasies and things like that. But then I realized that journaling helped me organize my thinking, organize my thoughts. So this is
Absolutely.
why, and I fell in love with journaling, and I journal almost. Some days I'm too busy, but 3 or 4 times a week.
Wow, that's great. And
Hmm.
if I remember correctly, one of our mentors also, I think it was Paul, who taught us that journaling is almost a direct connection to your highest being and to
Hmm. Yeah,
God, right? As
yeah.
He pours into you, there's an avenue where you write it down and actually have it down where, and that's a different kind of journaling too, right?
Hmm.
It's not just journaling as if this is what happened, this is a reflection, but it's almost like an offloading the ideas and the thought impulses that
Yes.
God implants
Mm.
into our mind.
Yes, and it's like you're really listening. You're
Yeah,
really paying attention, and
yeah,
you get all the distractions out of your life, and you are
yeah.
present in the moment, and then you begin listening, and
Mm,
and it's so important, and I feel so good after journaling. And in my how I see things is like another way of communicating, because I'm a really spiritual person. So I feel like this is the way that I communicate with God. So it's,
mm.
if you read my journals, which you want,
I'm sure some people, some of our viewers would want to see what has she been writing about. I
yeah, but
mean,
the thing is, and that's another thing with with journaling. It's a really private thing, because if you know that somebody's going to read that, you will begin editing
yeah, you'll be
and
guarded
being,
too.
yeah, guarded and being careful and all that stuff. So it's a private thing, even with your husband and your wife. It's really private, and it's not like you're writing something bad about them, but it's your thoughts, your
Yeah.
dreams, your aspirations. As I said in the beginning of our talk, you have to guard your dreams, your visions, your aspirations. So when I write, I'm directly talking to God.
Hmm.
It's another way that I talk to God. So I began my journaling always like, uh, oh God, today I did this, and I end up with Amen. Because I'm really actually talking to him, but I'm
Hmm.
writing down my ideas. So I
Hmm.
feel like I express what I'm feeling. I express my ideas. I express my things that I'm worried about,
Hmm.
and then, as you said, I began understanding, and then I began like, oh, I haven't thought about that, and I'm not that
Hmm.
smart, Michael, and I know that those ideas are not always mine,
Okay.
if you know
All
what I
right.
mean.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. And if you just join us, you would like to subscribe, I encourage you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notification when we go live again. And so, Jessica, I'm gonna take one more question here that's as this comes through, and we'll end on that note. I actually didn't think we're having fun and just having this conversation. It's very insightful, not not only for me but for all of the viewers we have here. And it's been a long time since I actually had a conversation with you, so it feels like we're just catching up and just talking, and I love
Yes.
that. So this one is from one of our viewers also. It says, how do you all go back and reflect over your past journal entries? Is there an effective method that you all would recommend?
Well, that's really funny, because I don't usually reflect on my past journaling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually do that, but I have been so surprised by my journaling, because, as I said, it's like my conversation with God.
Mm-hmm.
But a few years ago, I found some of my journals from back from 2006,
Mm.
and I wrote down what I am doing right now, and I wasn't
Wow.
doing anything, yeah, at all.
Wow.
I And it's so, because sometimes you can't see it in your mind. You can see it like clearly,
Mm-hmm.
but back then I so wanted to be a speaker, and I so wanted to speak. But I was working at my university, and in
Mm-hmm.
my journal I was writing that I want to be a speaker. I want to connect with people from all over the world. I want to inspire them. And then, for whatever reason, I began another business, and I began doing other things.
Mm.
But then I went back to what I was writing. So it's kind of curious. Uh, but that's something personal. I really don't like reading, going back to my thinking. Yeah, because
But
sometimes, But sometimes I'm sad and I'm writing some sad things, and I don't want to be sad, so I don't want to, So, but that's my personal.
Yeah, I
Mhm,
mean, yeah, it could be a preference, but some people
mhm.
may, but I can see why some people would want to as a way to go back and maybe get some ideas that they had written down that escaped them, and then try to expand on that, maybe on the thought,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
And what I'm doing right now is what I began doing is that I have two journals actually. One is a
Mm.
business journal, and the
Mm.
one is my personal journal.
Personal journal. Okay.
So that way I go back in my business journal because I need those ideas. So, but my personal one, I usually don't go back. But sometimes I get surprised. And this year, I've been really, really intentional because last year I was writing about um, my barriers, internal fights that I had, and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But this year, I decided that I was going to be grateful and that
Mm.
I was going to write things that I was grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, I have actually read some of the things that I wrote back in March and April and things like that, and they're nice, and I
Mm-hmm.
love them. But I usually don't go back and read them,
Mm. Okay.
and
Well,
that's my preference.
I can understand. Some people don't want to go back and relieve the pain that they've written about, right?
Yes.
They wrote about it as a way to offload that,
Hmm.
that memory, and having to go back and reread it may cause some pain. But I agree, having a business journal or where you put thoughts and ideas about things you want to do, that also is something that is very important. Now we have a question. I think everybody would like for you to answer, and I'm gonna put it on the screen here. Um, the question is, how do you stick to your goals when you mess up and start to feel discouraged about them?
Oh, that's a great question. And I have made so many mistakes, and I used to feel so bad, and used to cry, and I used to to how do you say that? But to torture myself for days.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, okay, Jessica, you are learning, and this is something that we all need to learn. We have to train our thoughts, to train our mind. Because my mind was running like a crazy horse, like crazy, like a wild horse. And it was running all over the place. So I messed up. I failed because when I failed my business in my first business, uh, that was a huge thing. But then over the years, since 2011, I have failed so many times. But if I haven't done all the things that I had done, I wouldn't be here.
Mm.
So they were steps to becoming who I am today. So one day I realized that I every time I fail, I was going to learn something. So I allow myself to be sad for like one day, and then I'm saying like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. You will try again, and you will make it. And also, and this is funny, I celebrate when I
Mm.
fail. Yeah, that is crazy.
Why would you celebrate failure? Why would you celebrate when you fail? Go ahead, tell us more about that.
Yeah, I celebrate because um, it's like saying, Jessica, well, I am a coach and you are a coach. So if you have a client and your client fails, what are you going to do, Michael? Are you going to torture him?
No, I
Are
mean
you
we all
going to encourage
understand the whole process, right? It's the airplane,
him?
the right the airplane flies on autopilot or somebody's flying it, but 99% of the time that airplane is off course,
Yes,
right?
yes, the thing. Well, the thing is that I realized that whenever one of my clients fail, I will encourage them. I will be nice to them. I will help them get over it. But whenever I fail, I was torturing myself, and I realized, oh, why don't you become your own coach? And what in if you fail, you have to celebrate that you did something. You
Yeah.
actually did
Because
something.
if you didn't do anything, you would not have felt.
No, yeah. So I decided that I was going to celebrate, that I was brave enough to do something.
Mm.
And also, I celebrate because life is short, Michael.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why should you be so sad? And so I allow myself, because it's gonna hurt you. It's gonna hurt you. Uh, but I allow myself to be sad for, I don't know, 1 or 2 hours, and then I will go and do something, uh, that. And when I say celebrate, it's not that I go and throw a party, but I do something that I love, something that I like, something that I feel good about. And I know that even when today it feels bad, I feel bad, I feel sad, tomorrow I will begin again. So
Absolutely.
this is why I celebrate.
No, that is amazing. Celebrating the things where you feel that you fail, and I'm reminded of this lesson I learned a long time back, where failure is really feedback.
Yes, it is.
You know, you think of life as an experiment where
Mm.
you do this thing, it didn't work. It's not that you failed, but this thing didn't work. But what you learn in the process in this experiment, what results you get, why did you get that result? Is there one thing that you could tweak that would probably then give you a different result? Or it's not about quitting, but it's about how do you receive that feedback and take
Yes.
it and try again. And then
It-
take the feedback you get and try again.
yes. Yes. Until you make it. And I will say this, I will confess in your program, Michael, this has been the hardest lesson for me. And I remember in a book, John Maxwell says, if you don't learn to fail, you won't ever have success. And
Mm.
I didn't know how to fail. I didn't know. It crushed me.
If you do not learn to fail, you will never have success.
Yes, I don't remember which book and the exact quote, but it went
That
like that.
is, yeah.
And because I was teaching from that book, and I
Mm.
hated that part. I was like, he's crazy. I won't teach this this part. I don't like this part. But I knew, and the thing is, I come from the academia. I was working at a university, and in the academia, you're not allowed to fail.
Wow.
You have to be
Well,
right all the time.
that's the crazy thing. Our school system, the way it is right now, teaches
Mhm.
us to see, you know, when we fail to see it as a bad thing, as opposed
Mhm.
to you tried, it didn't work, but now you know that that particular way of doing it didn't work. It's not that nothing works, just that particular way of doing things doesn't work. And one
Yeah,
of the things that I also remember, and I think it's Paul who taught us this, it's to fail fast.
fail
If you
fast.
want to
Yes.
succeed, the faster
Mhm.
you want to succeed, the faster you need to fail.
Yes, and you know what? I began. I've been speaking publicly for
Hmm.
20 years now, but I began speaking as a business because I was working at the university, so I had to speak all the time to be like doing conferences and things like that. But working as in my business as a speaker, 10 years now, and I'm here. I am where I am because I allow myself to fail a lot,
Mm.
and I went to all these places, and they sometimes my teachings were so bad, my conferences I didn't like engage with people and things like that,
Hmm.
but I practiced that much that I became really good at this. So you have to go there, and you have to be brave, and as you say, fail fast. As if I had learned this lesson before, I will be doing. I would be. I don't know where I will be right now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it took me a long time. I didn't want to learn that lesson, to
Yeah,
be
no,
honest.
absolutely. I mean, the
Mhm,
longer it we take to learn the lesson in failure, and this is
mhm.
where you're not failing forward, really, right?
Yeah.
Failing forward to success. You have to learn the lesson in the failure, in order for you to actually keep moving forward and try again and failing again and trying again and failing again. Just like Thomas
Yeah.
Edison did, right? He tried this thing 10,000 times. He found that it didn't work 9,999 times.
Yes, and something that helped me is my boys. I have two boys, and
Hmm.
you know what? Even when they fail, I love them, and I love them way more when they fail. And I realized that. I realized, oh, I have a mother. She loves me even when I fail. And because I'm a spiritual person, I know that I have a father in heaven and my father who passed away a year ago. And they will love me always, even when I fail. And when I fail, they will love me even more because they will know that I'm feeling bad. I'm hurt.
Yeah.
So that helped me overcome my my adversity to failure.
Yeah, no, this is so important. I mean, for all of us watching and listening, the whole point here is if you have a vision, if you have a goal, if you have anything that you're trying, the whole point is go out and do it. Will you
Yeah.
succeed the first time? No. Anything worth doing is worth failing at the first time. I don't
Yeah.
know if I believe it's Les Brown I heard that said this. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly first.
Yes. Yes,
Right?
it is.
Anything worth doing is worth doing badly first. So if you think you're gonna do it the first time and it's gonna be great, forget it. It's just never
Yeah.
gonna happen that way, right? Go at it, do it, fail, do it. I remember the first time I actually started doing live videos, and that was about
Yeah.
2 years ago. I went to
Mhm.
conference with my wife, and oh my gosh, we were so scared. I myself was really scared of doing videos and doing what we're doing right now. This
Yeah, and
this
and
this
you're
has
so
been a
good at
big
it.
thing, a big thing for me. My wife, she was afraid of taking pictures, afraid of just doing a live video, and now she has a YouTube channel that's close to 20,000 subscribers, teaching and
Wow.
sharing. Now, again, but the first one she did, if she goes back, she's like, "Oh, please, no, I don't want to see this,"
I don't want to, yeah. Yeah,
because
I
you
know
think
that.
it
I know
was
the
so
feeling.
bad. But you see,
Mhm.
that first one that was so bad actually paved the way for her to actually get better every single time. Every
Yeah.
time she does it, she learns. Every time we do something, we fail, we learn from it, we grow, we get better. So the
Yeah.
idea is not to be afraid of failure, but to actually learn to embrace it. Actually, high five each other when you fail.
Yeah, that's why I celebrate. And the thing is, it's not. It's all of the inspirational speakers say it's not failure, it's learning. And I was thinking, I remember back then, I said, they're crazy. It's failure is failure. But the thing is, no, it's part of the process.
Hmm.
You have to understand you don't know how to do it the first time. You don't know how to do it the second time. You need to keep on doing it until you learn it. And I
Yeah.
remember, as you were saying, my first time doing a video, I spent so many, it was like a 5 minute video,
Hmm.
and it was awful. It was awful, but I was so excited, and I posted on Facebook, and then I received a comment from actually a family member, and it has like 15 points that he said in his comment. Oh, that was a nice video. I'm gonna tell you how to do it in a better way next time. And I was thinking, like, okay, how many videos do you have?
I know.
You didn't have any videos, so and I keep on, and this is the other lesson that we should learn. You said I have my wife. You have to surround yourself with people that will support you when you fail
Mm.
because it will hurt. But if you have somebody who encourage you, you will go back and do it again. And I have my husband, and whenever I fail, I can, because I'm a woman, so I don't know if you do this, Michael, but I know I
Hmm.
do. I come crying, I can't do this. I know, and my husband is like, okay, you have to keep on going. You have to keep on going.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you will need to try again. So you have to find somebody in your life that
Yeah.
that encourages.
Yeah, and you know, for those people who don't have somebody, it's to really try to find what I call a circle of
Yeah,
advisors.
yeah, a
Yeah, a
community, and now,
community of advisors, or you know, there could be friends, but people that actually help lift you up. People that actually, when you say you have an idea, that doesn't shoot the idea down, but helps you enlarge the idea and make it better.
yes, yes,
So,
yeah.
wow.
And
Oh
now
my
it's
gosh.
easier than, yeah, because now we're connected. And for example, I believe that most of the people, or some of the people that are connected to your channel, maybe you don't know them in person, but they know that they have a friend in Michael. And if they have an idea, they can post about that idea, and maybe you will encourage them. We didn't have that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we can connect with people who will encourage you and help you grow. And that's something that you need to be intentional on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
And you know, actually, one of the things that I have done in the past, and I'm actually thinking about starting a new one in 2021, is to start the monthly group coaching that I do, where people can join on a monthly basis. We come in, you know, once or twice, you know, live video call on Zoom, or whether it's on the phone or whatever, just to share some thoughts and ideas and go deeper into some of these things and actually listen to people's struggle and help them overcome and help them think through the challenges and some of the failures that they experience. And I think that you know, that's something that may be useful.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, wow, we've gone over. When the conversation. I didn't, I didn't think so, but we had questions. We had people chiming in, so I wanted to, you know, provide the value. And thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us. You got, if you following us and watching here, you can follow Jessica on Instagram at coach.jessica. I believe that's what it
Yes.
is. Correct?
Yes. Coach
All right,
Jessica.
awesome. So it's been, you know, this is great, Jessica, and I really want to thank you for joining us here and spending some time with us as you know, we start this new year. So you know, this is the last session of iLive for the 2021, well, for 2021. So I want to say Happy New Year to all of you watching. Jessica, any last word to to our viewers?
Well, I would like to say, Michael, this is nice. I love what you're doing. This is so nice, so professional, and I love the idea behind I live, and I will like to say that go ahead and come up with your coaching thing. We need it now more than ever
Mm.
in the place we are at. And thank you for inviting me. I really, really appreciate it. And this is the best way that I could end my year sharing with you
Oh
and
wow.
with all your people from your community. And thank you. I really, really appreciate that. And I would like to say that even though 2020 was a tough year, um, the best thing that we have in our lives is hope. And we have to keep on believing that 2021 is going to be a better year. We can make
Absolutely.
it better with our actions. Mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. Always have to keep believing and keep trying. Well, thank you, Jessica, and thank you everybody for joining me. Remember, if you're watching, to subscribe, comment, share, like. Again, I hope you really got value out of what's been shared today. And if you're struggling with relationships, leading yourself and others with intention, living really a life of intention, then this is the place for you. So thanks once again for joining us, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. And again, if you haven't, please feel free to head over to my website, leadingwithintent.com, to get your free gift. And of course, I will be here again next week with a brand new guest. It's the new year, so we're going to talk about intention. We're going to talk about goal setting. We talk about vision today, and I hope this was a great session for you. Once again, subscribe, like, comment, and share. And until next time, I know you're fire.